Hello and welcome to Conversaciones con el Capitán García Gasca. Today we will talk about the entitlement trap. Why nothing is handed to you. Lately, I have been hearing a lot of talk about a specific topic, entitlement. You have probably seen the books or the headlines. They talk about the entitlement trap, arguing that newer generations have been raised with so many privileges and favors that they have grown up believing they simply deserve everything. Here is my take, my 5 cents. Life isn't fair, and nothing is just handed to you. I don't buy into the mindset that the world owes you a living. If something is worth having, you need to work for it. You have to earn it. I'm a big believer in accountability. I believe in showing up, working hard, and taking full responsibility for your actions. It's not about waiting for a lucky break or a handout. It's about what you are willing to put in. Trust me on this one. If you put in the hours, keep a solid attitude, and maintain the right mindset, you won't just achieve your goals. You will achieve more than you ever thought possible. Success, isn't it a birthright? It's an earned result. On my 5th conversation today, I have Captain Mogic from Croatia, with more than 40 years of experience at sea and working on land as a maritime trainer. On my 6th conversation today, I have Captain Albuquerque from Portugal, with more than 50 years of experience at sea and working ashore in a maritime company. One more time, welcome to Conversaciones con el Capitán García Gasca.
Good evening, Captain Mogic. Welcome. I just want to start our informal conversation, casual conversation, with one punchline, and it's all about what is patient. Well, you go through the dictionaries and it says more or less like this. Patient is frequently described as, if not the key to success, emotional stability and wisdom, often characterized as the virtue that, when paired with persistence, overcome obstacles. Common sayings emphasize that it is not passive waiting, but active, calm endurance. As the saying goes, patience is bitter, but its fruit is sweet. So thank you again, Captain, for your time. I will let you now to introduce yourself.
Ciao, Eddie. Pleasure to see you again, even through the
Yes.
screen, and remember all those good days that we spent together when you were a junior. I was just about become a senior, and I remember those good days talking back. I don't say how many years ago, but many years ago.
Yeah.
And time is flying. It's a pleasure to see you.
Yeah.
So myself, from 1981 at sea. We are talking about 45 years already, and it's something what leave some kind of effect on you. And now you back to that word patient that I like that description that you read. But in our business, having a patient or being a patient is something very different. And you learn that through the years of your experience, career. And my patient is not same as yours, depending through what kind of situations you pass in your life and with what kind of people you are dealing. So again, as I like to say, we are learning all our life. That's the way how I learn being patient, because through the career you learn about yourself as well.
Exactly.
Don't forget that I was the very first captain on NCL who had a coach when NCL introduced coaching system for the captains. And I was having a coach on board the ship on Norwegian Dream for 2 weeks with me, walking around the ship like my shadow. The person who never been, his profession is not nautical. He has no connection with the ships, but was interesting in the evening with the chat and the drink. We were talking about my day and how he see it, how I see it. So very often he will bring up situation with captain, but today in discussion with it officer, you sound like you didn't have patience to. He did something wrong, but your voice, your way of explaining the things, do you think was correct? And then I said, look, but I'm a Mediterranean guy. I talk with the hands.
Yeah.
I have a voice which is going up and down, and it's normal way how I'm communicating. And he has right. He said, but the other guy is not Croatian. He was, let's say, Filipino or whatever. So that was from very young, very young captain. I learned how to observe the reactions of other people and having that patience to understand the people who are in front of you, because they have very lot of hidden talents. If you don't have patience talking to them, teaching them, you will never get on the surface the talent of that person. So that's kind of patience which I appreciate in our business to allow to other people to develop and show their skills, because you allow them to do it. Captain very often doesn't allow you to say or to do the things. I'm so happy to see that things are changing.
Right.
I've been rise up as a senior officer with one Norwegian captain that I put head down. God bless him. He passed away, Eric Bjusted.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned a lot from him, but not always the good things. I learned how not to do the day I become a captain.
Correct.
So that's that kind of patient reading from Wikipedia or wherever is in our business is something completely different.
Yes, Captain, you hit the nail there. You're very correct. And I mean, if I could add something to what you just said, first about the different cultural backgrounds on board, that, it's not the same, even sometimes, even inside your own country, like if I'm from Panama and some guys from the East and the other one is from the West, they will all behave different and learn different and, accept different things. Plus, what you're saying, I like the last thing that you said about the captain, that sometimes, I mean, you learn from the mentor, but you also will learn how maybe not to do some things that way because you want to be different. So my question to you now, adding into this, is how important do you think is that to have or to find a mentor when you start in your professional career?
Absolutely. And very important. And I can say that my last 4 years in my career was ice pilot on the expedition ship going down to Antarctica. And I'm so blessed that I try that profession, that kind of job to perform, to develop my skills in the ice navigation with less responsibility than I had before.
Yeah.
But also, we were having a project on board the ship. All the time we were having 4 cadets on board. So having cadets on board, I actually introduced myself as a mentor to these people. Why? Because I had most free time when we are outside of the ice, crossing the Drake, going back to Ushuaia and back. Day at sea without ice, I was having with them various meetings, various teaching, various PowerPoint presentations that my laptop is full of that to try to develop these people, these young guys, to become tomorrow an officer. At the same time, I was giving my feedback to the captain of the ship to know what he can get from these people, what he can expect tomorrow. Is he worth to invest in him and get him as a third officer? So that was my way of mentoring 3 months of the young people. And I see difference what you said, who is from north, who is from south. Yes. Also depending which school they finish. There is a school Dubrovnik, there is a school Split, there is school Rijeka. At the same time, not every person is, how to say, school taking on the same way, or a job on board the ship taking on the same way. So again, that's a work for me as a mentor to try to make him understand that he has to correct certain things to keep moving forward. And I had all kind of situations. In 4 years, 30 guys passed through my hands, and I'm still with all of them today in contact. And they ask when they need something. Always mentoring never stop. The start when a person is cadet, and never-ending story. So that is mentoring that I enjoy. It's very hard to, for example, if somebody call me now and say, now you will be mentor to to Captain Eddie Garcia because we want to promote him, So from one side, there is a friendship very close that exists. From another side, I had to be brutally honest, straightforward, and work on that. Depend how I present to you my mentoring, you can build a wall and reject, or you can accept on a friendly way, or you can say, okay, I accept because this is my promotion. So again, the mentoring, depending which position we start and who is a person on the opposite side.
Yeah, I would like to add one thing there, and I think it's true. I remember one older captain, Norwegian from NCL where I work. He always tell me, Eduardo, remember, do not take the things personal. And, because as you mentioned, when you have to be brutally honest to someone that you are mentoring or coaching or you are leading, you're going to make comments, you're going to present your opinion, or you're going to make constructive criticism. Exactly. But this is because you want them to be better. You want them to become a better officer, a better captain, or better whatever in any, profession. I remember what the captain told me, do not take things personal, because I think that's one of the really small issues that we have now with the younger generations now. They, you tell them something like for them to become better, but then they take the things personal. And then if there is not that match or chemistry between the mentor or the leader and the apprentice, there is always going to be like a breach there, a gap.
True. Another thing, Eduardo, is we have to talk about its ego. First of all, the captain ego is up to the sky. And it's very difficult to get rid of that ego. And I can say that being first of all ice pilot without captain's responsibility that I had before, or being a teacher in UK Maritime Academy, for example, to the British Navy people, that they have different ego because they are military. They are Navy. I am the commercial captain who come to teach them and tell them something about ice. But then I come forward with my experience, which they appreciate. So again, I learned that experience has to push you to move ego away.
Yes.
On the same way, the person who you are mentoring has his own ego.
Yeah.
How he gonna get that? And I like your videos and the lessons that you were giving to the young officers, talking about navigation and all kind of things that on board the ship you were having like your own program that obviously everybody appreciates. So you have a bunch of people in front of you. They're all different. Some of them are sitting there and thinking this guy is, trying to put salt on my head.
Yes.
Others were, I never heard about this. And some of them were just not interested about, not thinking about anything because they found that meeting like, I have to do it, and I would rather be in a cabin on TikTok or something like that. So, there are both sides. So how to present your knowledge, experience as a mentor to the person, you have to study that person. It's not about blah, blah from my side. Okay, this is what I know. This is my experience. This is my years at sea, and nobody is better than me. Yeah. But that guy on the opposite side, you have to go deep into him to call yourself a mentor.
Correct. Yeah, if I can add also one more thing that I believe that what you're saying, you need to observe, you need to see like, is this person, this apprentice or junior officer, does he really want to learn? Because for me, I think being a mentor, being a leader is also both ways, right? It's not only like, I'm going to teach you, and if you take it, you take it, but also you need to, like you said, to analyze, to see, okay, how can I get really this guy or this girl or this person to do what, I'm trying to pass, the wisdom, the knowledge, the experience, and all of those things. So yes, it's both ways. I mean, you also learn sometimes from them because, let's make it clear. We are humans. We are gonna, we don't know it all. And we are always looking at, let's say, both ways to learn, and
Mm.
also from them, and also they will learn from us. So that's
I
great.
will say something what I hope you will agree. Not every leader is a mentor. Not
Correct.
every mentor is a leader. And I had some excellent friends who are captains, and in Arctic and Antarctic waters, they are better than I never saw such a skills. Amazing skills that I said, no, I will never be able to do something like this. They are great. But if you try to learn, if you ask to approach for explanation, whatever, it's a dead silence. It doesn't make them bad captains.
Correct.
It doesn't make him bad leader, but make him bad mentor.
Oh.
So not everybody has that skill. Not every captain has a skill to pass the knowledge. And
Correct.
I remember my days in the early 90s when I was on Renaissance cruises, with all Italians. And I had two captains. I'm still good friend with some of them. One was great in maneuvering with so much stress in that, but he was good towards the crew zero. Another one was good with the crew, but in handling the ship, and that was a lot of misunderstanding, lot of screaming, shouting, and that.
Okay.
So you see how captains are different. And I feel blessed that I come to this situation during Corona, that I enter into the training center and I take my experience of the ice with the polar code, which came in a force and a requirement for all officers going to Antarctica to have the certificate. So I was lucky that in Croatia, nobody can prove 365 days in the ice to obtain the certificate from the government to be polar code instructor. I start learning myself to see how to pass knowledge to the people, and correcting myself all the time, asking after the whole session, asking people what we can improve in this, how to do it better. That's something what I really advanced in 4 years, to be able to transfer the knowledge to the person who never been in the ice, thanks to these great simulators that we are having today, that I create my own exercises inside Wärtsilä simulator, very close to reality. You can pick up any part of the world, any ship in the world, and any situation, weather situation, with the ice concentration. So my thoughts or my remembering from the time I spent in Antarctica, I transfer into the simulator, into the virtual reality, to teach people, So that was also kind of mentoring, trying to pass my knowledge to, as I told you, imagine to the Royal Navy guy.
Correct.
Or great thing, you had the junior officers and senior officers. And I say, shall we put now the most powerful ice class ship, Commandant Charcot? And they said to me, no, that's azimuth propulsion. He says, so we don't have azimuth propulsion. He said, okay, fair enough. Commodore, you say no? No. But then the young officers come to me and said, when they go home, can we try to make exercise? And they were enjoying, So that was a secret mentoring. It was something that really enjoy in various ways of passing the knowledge, teaching or mentoring the people, different age, different class, different position, different ships and so on.
It's true. You can have a genius, brilliant people in any different career, not only captain, but in any other career where they are the top of their profession, but it's difficult for them. I don't know if it's either their personalities or their, emotional intelligence or whatever. We are not going to get too deep into that. But I believe that perhaps they cannot pass the knowledge or the experience, but if they are, one thing that I would like to adhere, but if they are good role models, some people will absorb just by watching them, because there is also a lot of people learn in different ways. So if you can see those guys who don't know how to pass the experience or anything, but they are role models, they are people that, hey, you know what, I want to be like this captain because for whatever reason, I like his maneuver, or I like the way he do the speeches to the guests, or I like the way he handles, X or Y. It's many ways that people can really transfer the
It's true.
experience.
I like what you mentioned, speech to the guest, because I remember still today my very first speech, which I, on Marco Polo, we were having 2 sittings, so I had to do 2 speech per
Oh, yes.
evening, and perfectly I prepare myself and I put everything on a paper what I had to say. And you come to the stage, you come very first time to the stage in front of 1,000 people, and you have to talk funny, you have to talk facts, figures, and all that, and satisfy their expectation. And that turned into the reading the paper that I had in my hand. So I returned back to my cabin and said, no, it doesn't work like this. You have to be yourself. And I throw that piece of paper in the garbage. I call the comedian. We were having on board comedian who was watching my speech. And I called him. His name was Paul Adams. I said, Paul, can you come up to my cabin? Sit here. Tell me. You are a stage person. I had to learn a lot from you. And, he was kind of very nice guy. He was kind of shocked what Captain want from me, what now? We become the best friends. But at that moment, I saw in him person who can share his knowledge and experience that is valuable at that moment for me. So after that, he said one thing, Captain, I'm comedian. When I come on the stage, people expect from me to say funny things. They can take them, they are funny, they can smile, they can applaud, they can boo, whatever. When you come on the stage, they don't expect from you any joke. Whatever joke you make their day, So that's a learning from the waiter to comedian to young officer who come from different school, from a different country, and so on. So just be open-minded and widen your horizons. At some point, that information that you file and found valuable, it will come out at the right moment.
You are right on that thing. I mean, we learn from everybody, and we also need to be willing to ask the questions. Don't believe like, oh, I know everything, and ask, find somebody, like you said, comedian, waiter, or somebody who is gonna give you some input, some feedback.
That's nice. You said we had to ask a question. And I remember in a position as ice pilot, I get a cadet on board and they introduce him as the best in the class, not in the high school, in the college. Okay. So the guy finished the college, best in the class. He comes to the bridge. Very nice, presentable uniform, carrying almost like Italian, and all that. And very silent. It was bothering me how I can enter in his word and, to see what is that knowledge, why he is best in the class and things like that. I start from the basic. I said, Mario, one information. He said, yes, Captain. Can you tell me how far is horizon? I'm not sure. I said, can you be sure at some point and let me know? He said, okay. Pass a day, next day in the watch. Mario, do we have that information? Not yet, Captain. Okay. Shall we now try to figure out? He said, okay. I said, give me a number. Just guess.
Correct.
It doesn't matter, but guess. And he said, at 200 miles. He said, really? And you were best in the class. You should know. Shall we talk about Brown Almanac, page 256? Or shall we talk about Nautical Almanac, table 42? Or we will take just a simple geometric, give me the ruler, pencil, and a piece of paper. So, he was kind of shocked. I will say I tried to trigger his brain that was the best in the class over there to start think at the bridge about such a things, because standing, being silent, watching forward and tell me there is a piece of ice is not what I'm expecting from you. I want you 100%, your brain is working all the time. How far is that piece of ice? Why you see just a tip of iceberg? Where is the other part of the iceberg? So those are the things that are very, very interesting, how people behaving regardless their background.
And it's now, I believe, and you could see it now with the new generation is that, we have all of this new technology, on the bridge, plus also now this artificial intelligence. And you mentioned something, they need to use 100% of the brain, because what this artificial intelligence and the technology, what is making them too much in the comfort zone. They are not using the brain, they are not using the gray matter, because they are just trusting blindly the technology. That's what I try to tell the young officers. Look out the window, look this, and like you said, trying to trigger that click on the brain to use a little bit different ways of reaching one answer.
That's true. I'm generation who start with GPS receiver having passing position every 106 minutes. So you don't know where you are. And I remember my very first crossing with Marco Polo from Europe to South America as a captain, and I stepped up on the bridge sometimes in the late afternoon hours, and I turned off GPS. Perfect, beautiful, nice day. I turn off. Okay, today you will receive a big warning from the company for that. At that time, Marco Polo was a little bit different, very friendly and nice working environment. I said I will be back in 45 minutes. I want to know where we are. So that was very, very interesting reaction of the people who never held a sextant in hand, never use nautical tables, brown almanac to calculate the things. It was not my idea to scare them, to embarrass them, to make show off. My idea was to come back and take the tables out and do calculation together with them. Exactly. And that's what we did. So I said, look, when everything is turned off, this is the way how you can find where you are, because that was in my past a way of navigation, how we were doing regularly. I really appreciate all this technology today. I was very first, against simulators, because I said you can never simulate reality. And I remember when NCL was sending us down to the Star Cruise Center for the simulators to do these exercises. And my experience last 5 years in the UK on Varsila, the most new advanced simulator, it's a great technology. But I will be brutally honest with you, Eduardo. I'm not sure if I know how to make the voyage plan in EGDIS. No, and I'm not embarrassed of that. For simple reason, I have young officers who are dealing with this EGDIS like, normal thing. They learn that in the school. They do that every day, and they see that as a high tech, the most important thing on air. So I said, okay, why I will try to embarrass myself or to push myself to learn something if I can give to the young officer to give me the voyage planning that I will pass through to say yes or no. So they are blessed for that. It's a great thing, and I appreciate very much. But then again, eye is bare eye, window is window, screen is a screen.
That's true. And I really, agree with your comments, because it's, it is something that I hope that people will get more easier, to understand that we still have our brain and need to be used, not just to lay down and stay in the comfort zone. So, but yeah, Captain, I believe the conversation has been perfect. We discussed different topics. And as I said, I hope that, whoever will watch this will take something for them. Thank you again for your time. I really appreciate it. We know each other for a long time. I really appreciate your time, and I'm very grateful for this opportunity that you give me.
It's my pleasure, Eduardo. And of course, time, anything, or even extra question once you become professional mentor to the young generation. Anytime that come a question mark above your head, when you're thinking about it, feel free to drop me a line, and of course we can talk, because as I always say, two are more smart than one, and the different experience match together. And it will be a pleasure. Absolutely, Eduardo.
Really appreciate that. For now, can say ciao.
Yeah, you know what I wish you, I don't have to mention,
Yeah.
but you know very well. All the best, and first of all, good health, and take care, Eduardo.
Excellent. Thank you. Okay. Hi, everybody. Hi, Captain Albuquerque. Today we're gonna have a conversation about, how the way of being a mentor. And I would like to start with something that I found in the internet. I will just read it here. That is important or related to this conversation, and is what is luck, or what is the luck? On the dictionary says that is the phenomenon or experience positive or negative events that occur by chance rather than through one's own direction, control, or actions. Of course, let's say some random things that happen in life. But of course, we also have the let's say, position of philosophers, one of them being Seneca, that says that luck is just what happens when preparation meets opportunity. So he believed that rather than being a matter of pure chance of fortune, luck is the result of continuous self-improvement, hard work, and readiness. And here, as I said before, we have Captain Albuquerque. I will let him to make his introduction. How are you, Captain?
Very well, thank you very much. And I was impressed with the luck thing. I have tried my luck several times.
Yes, that's correct. Well, for those of you who know, I mean, Captain Albuquerque, long time captain at sea, and now he's working ashore. So that's more or less what he is been all about him. We can start with the first kind of opinion from you about how important do you think that is that during your career, especially on starting your career, that you find a mentor or the mentor to find you?
Well, let me tell you a story. During my first embarkation, when I embarked in cadet on passenger ships and cruise ships, many years ago, as you say.
Yes.
And one day I could see that I was an apprentice. One day I could see there was a confusion on the bridge. There was everybody talking at each other with a very urgent conversation. And I asked the staff captain at the time, is that a problem? And his answer to me was, not with me. And that's all I got. So I promised myself that I would never behave like that. And I would be completely different from what was. Okay, different times. And also the person that was there maybe was not a very good mentor. And I promised that I would never do that. And all my life I tried to assist people or be at the side of people. I'm not a great believer in authority. I'm a more believer in teams. And I'm a little bit lazy, so the better my team, the better I am without doing nothing. So I'm very happy with that, I'm extremely happy with that. If I manage to accompany a good team, wow, I'm the best guy. Correct. And I do almost nothing, so that's luck, maybe, right?
Yeah, exactly. You prepare for that.
Maybe.
No, if I could add something, what you just said that is related to this, you have good mentors, you have, bad people on top of you, and I believe that what you learned that day is like what not to do, as you said. I don't want to be like that guy. So you learn from the good ones, from the bad ones. So you have all kind of people around. So
exactly
that is a
sometimes
good point.
You learn more with the bad ones because you learn what not to do, and you see the bad experiences. I have my bad experiences also.
Exactly. No, that's completely true. What will be if you could give an advice, to now, let's say your generation, my generation, and then the new generation that is coming, and maybe you saw it before you retire from the ship. There is every generation change, and it's difficult to bring them, to motivate them or anything. If you have any advice to the new mentors that are working now with the new generation?
Well, I'm a little bit, I'm scared with a very useful tool. I'm not questioning the tool, I'm questioning the uses within the artificial intelligence. I have seen the results I can tell you many stories that I have, but just one, not with me, with the captain that was changing me the same ship. We were alternating as usual. And he came to me and he said, I'm going to tell you a story that kind of upsets me, is that I went to the bridge. There was a fantastic, good weather, blue skies, blue sea, flat calm, and there was a small yacht, a sailing boat, coming from starboard to port. And I saw that the officer was turning to starboard to let him pass, which is the correct procedure. And I just for a conversation, I told him, so it's very good you leave the sailing boat on your port side. And he was looking at the radar and he told me, how do you know it's a sailboat? And the captain looked out of the window and said, well, it's over there. So he was doing all the maneuver, correct maneuver. He was doing all the maneuver with the radar. He was not looking out of the window.
Yeah.
And this is, and I have other stories, similar stories, where I got an answer from a captain that could not do a certain thing because they are watching me from my home port, and I cannot tell you the home port, otherwise they know. They are watching my home port, and this is on the checklist. And it was an absolutely ridiculous thing to do on that situation, that specific situation. But he says, I'm being watched from the controller, and this is on checklist, so I have to do it anyway. And I'm very scared of these things, you know. The office today, when I go to the bridge, and I still go to the bridge every now and then, and I do command every now and then, for instance, entering one port, there is a bearing, and I tell the guys, have you take the error of the gyro using the bearings? And they look at me as if I'm Chinese or some kind of Martian or whatever. And they said, oh, come on, guys. Go there, you are in the alignment, go there to see if they look at me and this scares me. And exactly. I try to tell them that the difference between a professional and an amateur is that the professional has to bring the ship from A to B without any of that equipment. Correct. And the amateur can only bring from A to B following those pieces of very useful equipment. I'm not questioning that, okay? Many years ago, well, I have many stories. When I was sitting at the table, this captain's table, I had to make conversation with the passengers, right?
Yes.
And they were telling me sometimes, Captain, you have a lot of stories, and my answer was always the same. Yeah, some of them are true, and that normally finishes the conversation. Right? Yeah. But there are many situations where I'm afraid of this new AI.
Correct.
They should be used to help your intelligence, not to replace your brain.
Correct.
This is what scares me. This is why I take more care telling the officers, think for yourselves also. Check what is going on. Verify your informations. Don't just follow what the equipment tells you to do. Question it.
Yeah, always double check. Don't assume anything. Yeah. You know, those are good advices for the new generation because yes, you are correct on that thing. They just don't even look out of the window. That is just a simple thing.
Yes. So these are extreme situations, but there are many more situations like this. These are, of course, joking, extremely situations. That's kind of ridiculous. Even the guy then, when they look at the window, he says, "Oh, bullshit." But well, you know. That's it.
Yeah. No, I understand you very well because I had a few situations like that too now that I am on this position. But yeah, you know, I think if we go back a few decades back, you know, in the 60s, 70s, or even before, there was always like you go to the ship or to any art or any profession, you were having so much time, you know, together with someone that was kind of a mentor for you, you know, and you learn the ropes, as they say, the British says, you know, you were learning everything from the beginning, but like the real experience. Nowadays, I believe that the guys have the theory, but, you know, it's missing that practice, that experience to really get into the real thing.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. And I always stayed behind, even when I was delegating maneuvers, and I did that quite a lot. I was there close to them, so they feel that, okay, I'm there. And At the end of the maneuver, I know, well, unless they were doing something dangerous, but at the end of the maneuver, we were coming to see the ACDs and see the route that the ship followed. And I said, listen, here is where you see that the curve is, look at the irregularities of the maneuver and say, this is where things go wrong and so on. I explained why. And I'm always at their side. I don't leave them alone. Whatever they want, if they want advice or they want the opinion, I can give them. If I don't know, I tell them sincerely, well, I don't know. Let's look for it. But providing the tools for me is a fundamental act of mentor. Providing the tools for the improvement of the people that is around you. Whatever it is. I mean, I don't know. If you see a steering guy, a sailor, in the wrong position with the rudder, that's going to hurt his back. I tell her, listen, don't do that. Why don't you do like this and so on? And so why don't you get hurt? So in all those years doing that, I don't know. This isn't a silly example that I just remembered.
No, that's true. I mean, as you say, I mean, we as humans, we cannot know all the answers by memory, by heart, but we guide them, we give them the tools, we tell them where to find the answers. So, they also have to be a little bit more proactive. Let's use that word. But
yes.
Sometimes nowadays they are just expecting that all the answers come to them, like you said, with AI or, that somebody will sit with them and the whole thing.
Yep. That's exactly the point. So the dangers, it's not only in navigation. We are not talking only about ships. We are talking about our life in generally.
Correct.
If you use intelligence, artificial intelligence to be on your side, replacing your brain, you will lose your brain.
Correct.
And you start thinking, so I'm very much afraid of this, scares me.
Yeah, no, you are correct, because I mean, let's say I was really kind of reluctant to use the AI, but let's say few months ago I just started using it. But like you said, you should use it just to give you like an extra something extra, but first you used to use your own gray matter, your own.
You have to look at what you have to. I write every now and then. I used to write more to magazines. Now I don't write as much, but every now and then I still do an article or two. And but some months ago, I decided to make a joke about artificial intelligence, and I asked artificial intelligence what are the challenges for the modern seafarer. And the article that was written was, and I was supposed to, my idea was that, okay, I pick up the article and then I say, look at this was done by artificial intelligence, not by me, and there's this mistake, so and so and so and so. Well, I actually couldn't find any mistake, and it was probably better than what I could write. So I had to swallow it, but you have to read afterwards. You have to check the information you get, and you have to, even if you agree with everything, you still have to go through it to see if your brain understands correctly. Well, this is a. I think that we all agree with it.
I have seen people using it, and they just go with the easy way, the shortcut, copy paste, and they don't even notice that you pasted something else, and then they are like, "Oh, I just pasted from somewhere." I mean, like you said, you need to read it, you need to go through, and to really find something into it.
I was part of. I'm a member of the Nautical Institute, right? And 10 years ago, I was a member of the council because I was a seafarer at sea. So I was a member of the council for some years. And there was a group of friends all Nautical Institute, that we start questioning checklists. Let's assume that you have to paint a certain room once a month on a certain color. And you can have a checklist to help you. Don't forget to use your PPE. Use the color with this reference. You paint it with this roll with this reference. So do it from this wall to this wall because That's a useful checklist. If it starts saying, don't forget to go to the toilet first, put your underwear green, then it's a stupidity because it's replacing your brain. And we were asking several companies to allow some space for decisions of the remind them of what they have to be reminded, leave them some space for their own brain, and this one is difficult. You know, it's a very difficult task. You know?
Yeah, that's true. That's true that that nowadays, as you said, the checklists are made by someone, and it's like there is no space for reasoning or
Yep.
thinking, or so. Yeah, it is complicated. It is very complicated.
Yeah.
uh,
It is easy. It is easy if you have no brain.
Correct.
Apparently, an old joke that it says that the future ships will have two crew members, one dog and the captain. And the captain is there to be blamed for everything that goes wrong, and the dog will be there to prevent the captain from touching the computer that actually runs the ship.
Correct. Just to keep an eye on him.
Yes.
Wow. No. I mean, really ahead of the future in the maritime business. Yes, it's gonna be something to see in the next 10, 20 years. It's gonna be something to talk about.
Another important aspect on mentoring is that, and this is not something that they teach you in the nautical colleges. You have to learn in life. Is that the cultural background of the person you are mentoring, right? You don't mentor. This is not a defect. This is a reality, and it's very good that it is like this. You don't mentor Chinese the same way that you mentor a British guy, or a German the same way a Brazilian, or a Swedish the same way of a Chinese. And this is a reality that they don't teach us. Very often I did lectures about things, and I use the example of, for instance, good service. For instance, if you are a waiter in the dining room, and you have Swedish passengers. I worked a lot with Swedish, Scandinavians, Norways, and so on. And the waiter goes there, presents the menu, and says good evening, and he presents the menu. He shuts up. He only talks if somebody asks something to him. And what is displayed, then he explains. Good service in Scandinavia is when things arrive on time and what they should do, and the waiter is pleasant, smiling. That's it. If you go to, I worked a lot with Latins also, Spanish in Brazil. And if you try to do this in Spanish, it doesn't work. The waiter goes there and says, "Oh, yo soy de Murcia también. Mi abuela es de Murcia. ¿Dónde mora tu abuelo? ¿Dónde mora mi abuelo?" And the conversation lasts for 45 minutes.
Yes.
And it's good service, because if we change the roles, then it's bad service for both of them.
Correct.
So this is also applicable to mentoring. You cannot mentor people without understanding some of their culture. Mentoring is actually something that gives a lot of work.
No. True. Not everybody, let's say, learn the same way, and not everybody pass the experience and the wisdom or knowledge the same way. So,
Exactly.
Yeah, it has to be some kind of, like you said, if you study or learn about this cultural thing, then you prepare yourself, you adapt in order to pass it on. No, that's a good point too.
Yes.
For the last one, I don't know if you have any story, either good or bad one, about any of your mentors, that really mark your career that you would like to share with us, with the audience.
No, I've been captain since 1984. My first job as captain was in 1984. So I already forgot, but I had good mentors. I had, apart from that staff captain that really was not very good, I had good mentors and people that shared their knowledge and explained why. And I took that. And I think that you also need to have some talent. There is a difference between, as you know very well, there is a difference between a leader and a boss, right? And to become a good mentor, you need maybe to be a good leader. To be able to motivate people to do things, you need to pay attention to what they want. What are they? If you have to be a little bit patient also, and if you start calm, absolutely, there are at least two kinds of mistakes. The ones that you do because you want to make them, and then you are an idiot, basically.
Yes.
Those that you make because you don't know how to do better. and these are the ones you can help. If a guy wants to boycott, then he doesn't want to be mentored. He doesn't want to learn. He doesn't want to. I used to. We were coming out of ports, and we used to have the route marked on the ECDs and so on. And I used to tell the cadet or one of the youngest officers, okay, you take the ship out, just not the maneuver, just the navigation through, and you have to keep the ship in the route. If you go out of this, you pay beers to everybody. And it worked. I mean, not only it gave beers to a lot of people, but it also was a motivation. It was kind of a prize, for them. And it was at the same time was a joke. They did it at least also for fun, and the others were there participating and so on. So this I like too. It's what I like to do, so to say. I don't know. I have my own style of being a captain, I guess.
No, but you are correct on that one, because as we mentioned before, if you know like the background and you trying to find what is really motivating them now, right? So that makes the kind of like the gears match, and then you really, everything works both ways, either as a joke or as a lesson learned or anything. But
we are losing a lot of old wisdom.
Yes.
That was part of that. Again, when I did these lectures on the local colleges and so on about leadership and about mentoring and so on, I was very often asking people stupid questions, and the fact is that some of them never knew the answer. And I gave him the example of Fernando Magallanes, that went around South America. So he knew that there was an end in that continent, but he didn't know where. So wherever he embarked, wherever he saw an entrance, he went in. And then, this is a river. Of course, he saw the two margins. This is a river. When he got to Rio de la Plata, it's very wide, so you don't see the other side. So when he came in, he sailed, I think, about 3 weeks, which seems a lot, but it's not a lot if you are sailing in a sailboat and doing 4 knots or 3 knots against the wind and against the current. So he couldn't see the other side. But after those 3 weeks or something like this, he said, this is a river, let's go back. And I always ask the students, why the hell did he know it was a river? He couldn't see the other margin. And none of them thought about the obvious solution is that you taste the water. And it gets less salty, which is what they did. And I used to ask them customs with the general culture, for instance, to make them think that we need to think with the whole of our brain. For instance, I would ask them, that the Eskimos, the Inuit people, they, regardless of how hungry they are, if they have no food at all, they still don't eat penguin eggs. And do you know why? Because there are no penguins in the north and there are no Eskimos in the south. And you could be surprised to know that I hardly had this question, this answer.
Oh, but you are right. I mean, and also, if I can add something from that last thing, is that, during that interaction between the mentor and the students, or leader and the students, you also learn as a mentor, as a leader,
Yes.
It's both ways. It's not only them that they are learning; we are also learning. So that's 100%.
And what I said about the team being good is very real, because if you know that you can, you have to learn the guys. If you know that you can trust that guy, you sleep well.
Exactly.
So it's your own job, because you can delegate work, but you cannot delegate responsibility, right? So. If something goes wrong, it's still your head that rolls out.
Yes, so exactly.
The better they do, the better you sleep. Right?
Exactly. Oh, that's 100% true. Yeah. Well, Captain, I think the conversation was very nice. I mean, as I said, this was something very informal. That's my goal, to have some straight, informal conversation with people with experience. So I'm really happy that I get to share with you these things, especially you. You were one of my first captains when I started, so that's why I really consider you one of my mentors.
I hope a good mentor, yes.
No, a good mentor, yes. So thank you very much, and I will say goodbye for now.